Just a couple of questions, please. If I could start with prisons, please. It isn't accounted for. I don't see anything in relation to education or the schools. Is that because that's dealt with in a different? Is that with further and higher education, or is there any measure of that under yourselves?
What we might do, sorry to interrupt, Deputy, what we might do is, because you've started with prisons, we'll take prisons first, but we might do each vote at a time.
Okay, whatever you
So
like,
we'll do vote 21, but we'll go prisons because you've kicked off with prisons, so that's fine. So
okay with you?
what we might do is take prisons, and then we'll take each head
Yep.
and go through that way. So is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. So your questions on prisons, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so the teachers are paid for by Department of Education, and there's no additional funds required this year, and that's why it's not mentioned in the estimates. But if you like, the provisions of copybooks and things like that are provided by the Department of Justice through the Prisons Service, and I've been into several of the prisons over the last year, and I've seen the facilities are provided for educational purpose in them. But it is provided by us, but the teachers are paid for by Department of Education.
I have some PQ responses which show difference, quite significant variation between the prisons in the number of days that the schools are open within the prison. Is there anything that, is, and I see separately, you're talking about additional costs because of greater prisoner numbers, but also the significant cost in transporting people to and from court, and the effect that that has on the staffing rosters and the availability of staff to make sure that, for example, gyms are open, schools are open within prisons. Is there something, we spoke with this with the head of the prison service, both in the Public Accounts Committee and indeed in this committee, about how staff were being allocated and managed to make sure that those very important rehabilitative facilities were open. Is there something that's come up in conversations with the prison service in preparing the estimates?
Not in preparing the estimates. Obviously, the allocation of staff is a matter for the prison service itself, and assessing the needs of the different prisons and the particular prisoners that might be within there and their particular needs. So no, that hasn't come up in terms of the operational matters with the estimates.
Okay. The major capital carryover of 3.2 million. Can I just ask, was that expected, or is that under profile, or what is that?
Sorry.
The capital carryover of 3.2 million, the prisons vote, the capital carryover, and then we talk about the development of Limerick, which is great. I've been in the new Limerick Women's Prison, and it is a hugely, it's a really positive development, really great building. But why is there a 3.2 million euro carryover when, say, for example, Cloverhill is so much under pressure, and there's the opportunity to develop within the footprint of Cloverhill, for example, an additional remand wing and take remand pressure off other prisons?
Yes, so certainly in relation to Limerick, I've been there myself as well, and I think the contrast between the existing women's prison, which is quite,
Appalling.
I'd say it's unfit for purpose. Yes, it's appalling. Yeah. It is. And the new facilities, I think, are very much welcome. And Limerick, as you know, takes women from Cork as well, and that's significant. So I think those facilities are very much welcome. But I think that's where very much the focus has been this year, getting that prison open. So there will be a focus on other prisons into the new year, and that's why one of the reasons for the carryover has been the focus on Limerick itself, trying to get that across the line, because there was some hold-ups in relation to COVID.
So did you project that carryover, or is that unexpected, or why do you have a carryover of that size? Was it that you couldn't expedite other projects, or Limerick is behind, or what's the reason for that scale of carryover relative to your planning?
Yeah, so as I say, Limerick consumed so much of the focus in the last year that it wasn't possible to, I suppose, execute in relation to a number of the other projects. So the carryover wasn't expected. We would have hoped to have used that funding during the year, but the reason for the carryover is because of an underspend, and we expect into the new year to be able to spend the rest of that funding.
The rest of the redevelopment of some of the other projects is really very important. The Cloverhill Remand project comes to mind. It's not yourself, Minister, but I'd be worried if the department wasn't able to, progress more than one project at a time. From, clearly you can be engaged in design of one prison while, one project while completing the fit out of Limerick Prison, which is very considerably advanced and I believe due to open in January. No? Perhaps next year there might be a stronger official focus on delivering more than one thing at a time.
Look, what I can say is that this year the Irish Prison Service reopened a newly refurbished training unit placed with detention as a centre for older persons in Mountjoy, and this has provided an additional 96 prison spaces. So that was the other project that was mainly advanced, but I would expect the department will be able to now focus on other projects and advance them as quickly as possible.
Okay, thank you, Minister.